Be a generator of positivity in any way you can. Be a well-being producer. Don't stop at just filling up your own aura. The world needs it.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about it, it's free energy. And it seems like the more you're in practice of being a conduit for well-being, this is how we heal the world from the inside out.
Welcome to this We Be the Change episode, Spiritual Awakening into Humanity's New Light. Do you ever feel like you're running hot and fast and missing the silver chalice in stillness? In this conversation, Daniel Strawn and I explore deeper layers of spirituality, personal growth, and the forces shaping our collective journey. We'll dive into the mysteries of silver and gold energies and the new light emerging for humanity. Whether you're on your own spiritual path or just curious, we invite you to join us for insights, stories, and practical wisdom for awakening in these times. We'll be posting bonus content for subscribers at SongRise.LIVE, SongRise.LIVE, where you can also request your special eGuide gift, Out of Your Head into Your Light.
And so we're in a situation organically where people are really wonky. Their emotional bodies are tattered. Their mental bodies are totally distracted and fragmented. And then they start talking about their excellent meditation life. I've just been in so many different kinds of process with so many different people.
Yeah.
And I've always tried to cleave to the realm line of humanity within it.
Good.
Because no matter what your spirituality is or your philosophy is, we're human beings and our language is a smile.
Yeah.
And if it be a smile, then all the rest of it's a bonus. I had an enlightened conversation for 5 minutes in the parking lot of Home Depot this morning with someone I never met before. She had a t-shirt. He had a Naropa t-shirt on that was cool. And then within 3 minutes, we were both going, gratitude. Ah, that's the hamburger I want.
That's right. Yeah.
So silver and gold. So silver can be seen in the religious world. You can see silver is the expression of the activation of the pineal gland that Jesus Christ did the hard work to win for us. Okay. So I can give you an alternate Bible if you like through the electromagnetic world. I don't want to go there right now, but for describe that though, it's like for a silver activated silver chalice, which holds the pineal gland and the cup overfloweth. It happens to people and it can happen momentarily.
Yeah.
But if they don't have a balanced life, pentagrammic life, they can't hold it. It'll just be an experience. I think that it's very important in these times to understand that you have to do the work for you. And everyone is a unique individual, but you've got to write the curricula for you. And you have a lot of experiences, but don't stop because there's more to come. And eventually you'll say, okay, that's what's going on in the outside world. And then what's important is to balance that with the inner work.
Yeah.
And that in these days is a survival strategy to start, just to hold your own center.
And all those experiences are purposeful. They're valuable. Even if they were failures or they were fleeting, they're still so instructive and so helpful for where we are now with the set of circumstances in which we live.
Our expression into and the reception from our community is vital. Here's you and me and the computer, but there's also God who's like also in this interview, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes my brain catches onto an idea and then I spread it around for a week. And the conundrum is, the big question is, where does God come from? How does God get here? And some people say, he's got to have a mighty nice Rolls Royce. And I said, he does, because that's what we are. God gets here through us. You just have to do the work. The notion, for me, it's not a notion, it's the reality of being a well-being generator.
Yeah.
So if I can connect to my well-being and grow it, right? Imagine, okay, so right now we're at the Rainbow Medicine Circle and we're sitting in the circle with lots of other people, and each of us is breathing in and we're like growing this light in ourselves individually. Each breath, it gets a little bit bigger. And then a few breaths later, each person has filled their whole aura with light, right?
Yeah.
And then the next breath, all the auras are connected into one aura of light. And then we generate this force dome of light. And the more we breathe together, the more it expands, and it goes all the way around the world. That's
Yeah.
my meditation, because there it is. So a couple other things, interesting things about the gold force is gold is the most powerful. Gold holds, right? And an expression in the religious history is Judaism, because there's like the core of Judaism is so very gold. It's about holding the law. And they've been arguing about this book, the Kabbalah, for thousands of years. And I wonder why they haven't come up with the answer yet. There's this passion to be right, to be correct.
To be
As you're
pure.
yeah, because that's a chamber of creation that, much like yellow, which is where you hold your relationships and your contracts and your marriage, all these things. It's almost like gold is the higher expression of that. Because we have many temples. We represent many temples and many lives.
Yes.
And the idea is that the number one edict of creation is to grow and gather experience.
And express.
That is how you win and build your own gold. But it takes 2 portions of silver to equal 1 portion of gold electrically. One of the weird things about gold is Buddhism is also a gold-based religion. And it's very interesting to do a study between Judaism and Buddhism. There's actually a very famous high rabbi, Reb Zalman, and I designed and built things for his kosher kitchen and also for the temple Nevi Kodesh in Boulder. But there was a book called The Jew in the Lotus, and it was a conference in Dharamsala, India, around religion in exile. So all different rabbis came to Dharamsala, and they had a conference with the Dalai Lama. Very profound.
Yeah.
Reb Zalman was one of the main characters in that, and he believed in the unification principle.
Beautiful.
And he would pray in whatever way he would pray. Very interesting man. Kabul, he was considered to be a Zadok, which is like a very high occult priest in esoteric Judaism. Very human guy. God bless him. He's gone. He's there. In Judaism, this whole notion of the family and holding in the Most High, and they have this thing called the Ark of the Covenant. This is something that holds something, right? And I actually built an Ark for their schools, and a table for them to roll them out. I'm not Jewish. I was intimately involved with that community, and I've done it with a number of different religions and churches and things. And part of that process is understanding the community, so I could produce really something they couldn't imagine but would love.
Yeah.
They do.
Meaningful. Yes.
So there's all these wonderful things to find out about. So now the funnest thing in the world is to be a researcher, find the tools that work. And what that does is it builds an integrity and a sovereignty in self that you can't get in a book, because it's about your personal development and your personal discovery. And in the end, what the creation wants is the return of your love and your creativity and your productivity.
Yeah.
And to move the picture on a notch or two.
And I'm perpetually in the researching mode. I have been that way for many years. And I was just thinking the other day that I am not to take this for granted. My norm is day to day, whatever wavelength I'm riding, and it's like being on a wave, literally. I'll have a thought or a topic or something happening, not just in my head. It is a holistic feeling.
Yeah.
So many things come to me on the email or this way or that way.
Getting ridiculous.
I don't have a lot of time in my day to just, I'm going to go to the library and research for 3 hours. Nothing like that. Maybe there'll be 3 minutes. I'll just check something and boom. It's not only there, it's there exactly, precisely the bullseye of what I'm in wonderment about. And lately, what I've been doing is using the memo function on my phone. And if it does come in a way that I can copy paste the
Yeah.
essence of what it is, I just copy paste it and I'll just put it on this ideas topic on my memos. And so I have these long memos of these profound things that have just been ruminating. And then there's something goes bloop, here I am. And I'm like, oh, it's like a butterfly and just lands in my hand. And I'm like, okay, you can come too. Like you had the sketch pads to record the colors. So I record these. To me, they're little experiences. They could be, that's a nice tidbit of information, but I know deeper that it's more than that it's another strand that has arrived to be woven in to whatever it is that's being created as this human. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's what's been going on for quite some time. And I can't
You know,
even tell you exactly why.
it's
You know,
weird. People say, be here now. And it says, yeah. And it's a procession of be here nows, of our now consciousness.
yeah. Yeah.
And it's very interesting to me that like the electronic speed, the internet, all of this
Yeah.
crazy stuff, technology is disconnected people from their now experience. That's addictive, right?
Yes. And at the same time, when a person holds a frequency of wonder, then the all that is, the great mystery, lands all that matches that through any which means and just lands it right on their plate.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Could be
Well,
the internet.
that's an interesting perspective because okay, so we're witnessing all kinds of things with increased intensity, right?
Increased intensity and amount. The amount of it is,
Yeah,
yeah.
the multiplicity of just think of it. It's like whenever they invented the radio, so there was a few signals that went out, right? Now if you could only see what is unseen and that we're being challenged, our pentagrams are being challenged with this whole variety of frequencies.
Yeah,
And not only are they disruptive, but they're dedicated to not good things.
exactly.
So be a generator of positivity in any way you can, be a well-being producer. Don't stop at just filling up your own aura. The world needs it.
Yeah.
And the weird thing about it, it's free energy. And it seems like the more you're in practice of being a conduit for well-being, this is how we heal the world from the inside out. And the pentagrammic journey with study will gradually bring you into balance. And some of us are really thick in the head and we have to do crazy things like dying through all, and then coming, wait a minute, before people would have a couple of ecstatic experiences in their life. And it's called the portal into the planet and the portal out of the planet. But one of the translations of the Bible of about eternal life is the connection of love and light throughout.
That unity.
Maybe go through all these different threshold experiences, like the one you described that you went through, which was where you experienced a cognitive problem with what you were feeling and what people were saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that created a dynamic tension in you. It created a threshold experience because you couldn't go back.
No, you can't.
You can only go forward by a different level. So stepping back from the dynamics of hands and the intensity of energy when things get close, to take a few steps back, everything's supposed to run in a cool fashion. Your electrical systems throughout, if you run hot and fast, you'll never get into experience of the solar chalice.
So be still.
You can decode the Bible in terms of how you're supposed to be processing energy. Yeah.
I've never done that.
This is a different thing to research, isn't it? Religious study has been really important to me because even when I was a little kid, I was brought up Catholic in the Catholic Church, and I had nuns trying to get me to remember prayers, and this didn't stick. What I was interested in is where's God? And my mom said, oh, in the tabernacle behind the altar. Okay. Okay, then that's my mission as a little kid. Go to the little door. Hello. Because that's the nature of I want to find out.
Yeah.
And then later on in my esoteric studies and stuff, I started learning about esoteric architecture and naked architecture and how and why things are put together, how they are. Not like corporate architecture. Would you like to know why churches have steeples?
Yeah.
What?
Tell me.
Huh. Do you want to know?
Of course I do.
Now, this is a story that would get me excommunicated because it was only held by the Illuminati.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So the Masons, and these are the occult schools that built cathedrals and sacred spaces. And it wasn't necessarily for the right reason because there's all these overlays. If you
Yeah.
go to England, the game paths where the animals would go, be following the electromagnetic roads. And then the people would start following the animals, and they made those electromagnetic roads more substantial. And then the conquerors came and they paved over the electromagnetic roads with the Roman stone roads, right? At the intersections where these roads would meet, the humans would start making their temples, their stone.
Okay.
And these are all overlays of intuitive response to the nature of the planet. And then the Romans came and said, we're going to overlay over your pagan religion with Christianity. So they would build a church there, right? So whether it was conscious or unconscious, they were tapping into the earth energy grid, right? So they'd build a building, and essentially it'd be, let's put a pentagram here, right? Boom. And then it's very much like the development process of activating your higher centers.
Through a building.
But when it came to the activation of the pineal gland, which is the expression of Jesus's work here, it's not like it wasn't there before Jesus. He made it available, the application available through his teachings, which were the pentagrammic code, to create the right ecology in this biology to invite in the higher aspect of what humans are to become. Okay.
Creating the space.
Yes. And that silver force activation was translated into, we have the church, you have to get your Jesus at this church or your sacrament, right? So essentially what they do is they capture a silver entity and imprison it in this formation, in this steeple that it can't get out of. And then the ritual of the Eucharist, right? You've been to church in Catholicism.
I cantored in the Catholic Church for 12 years.
What Christ is doing is he's taking the host, right? They're taking a chunk of flatbread, which we have all around the world, all different cultures have flatbread. So Christian, Catholic flatbread, what they do is they, by ritual, force the silver entity, the silver elemental to dispense onto this wafer. And then they dispense it to the people. So this is the middleman of the church.
And
so anyone who keeps you from activating your own pentagrammic assembly to allow creation's higher aspects to work through you, it's not good. I'm not saying they don't get a result. I'm just saying it's not right. There's a difference between ceremony and ritual.
yeah.
And ritual essentially is forcing an essence to do something for your reasons. And that'll also get me excommunicated. Just to understand and to bring into focus how these things play out over time. But this is all history. Yeah.
It's all history, but it's current. It's current history. I know in my personal life, and still so much on the learning curve. I'm just trying to stay on the surfboard.
Have you seen the creation at
Yeah.
night?
Oh, yeah. We
How
have
big is-
cards here.
Does that represent the whole of your ego? Or is it your aspiration? And it's
It's-
the grace that there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And-
It's all
And
there.
for every star, you have a personal star. That's my experience.
Yeah.
I've connected to star level. Yeah.
Yeah. I get that sense of the magnitude. And yeah, there are no words. I remember, because as I said, I cantored in the Catholic Church for many years, and I might have been able to find a loophole that would have allowed me to take the host, have communion, but I didn't feel prompted to do that at all. But I actually, in the locality where we were living, I was both the cantor in the big highfalutin Catholic Church and the mission branch, which was mostly Latino people, the poorer church. And in the poorer church, because of a lack of people sometimes who stepped forward, or it was the last minute, I found myself sometimes in situations where only a Catholic person would be to do this, to do that, and whatever, but not take communion. And so I remember one time in the highfalutin congregation, I just felt, I don't want to have this be a waste of time. I want this to have meaning. But in my heart, I said, please, how can I be present with this? Because so many times over and over again, how can this be real? And I can't describe the whole experience, but I had a vision right there, sitting, waiting for people to do their thing so I could do my thing. And it was very potent. It was very potent. And the presence of Christ was very there. And it had a feeling of, for everybody is included,
Yeah.
including me. And there was nobody who was not included in that experience. And it really was a profound, joyful experience for me. After that, I could just feel into that. If I did what your architect friend said, just be still. If I just got myself very still, I could remember that vibration, and it transmuted the whole experience for me, which is good as the cantor. And I will say too, in that congregation, from that experience, I would have to just play the piano the whole time everybody's going up in communion. I would just play. And because I felt that, I would, in my heart, I just say, okay, play through me, but not in a super spiritual way. I would just sit there and hold that intention, like holding it on my ring finger.
There's a trinity in that experience because you were having a process of head, heart, and hands.
Precisely. Yeah.
And that's a completed circuit.
Yeah.
The intention was very high. So that's what you
And,
got.
and the result of that, quite often, when I was tuned in and that timeless experience, everything was connected. After Mass, people would come up to the piano and they would say, what was it that you played? And I'd say,
What, Colleen Sparks song?
yeah, exactly. I can't tell you. And they say, oh, yeah, because I'd like to hear it again. That's
Well,
my art.
right. There is that notion that the Holy Spirit is wild.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and awakening, where we can simply inquire, what am I feeding the circuitry of my being, and what's feeding me back? This is Colleen Akiko, and you've been listening to We Be the Change. We hope our conversation sparks new insights and inspiration for your unique path. As humanity's new light is emerging in and through and as each of us, let's encourage each other to keep seeking, keep growing, and keep on shining. So until next time, stay curious, stay connected, and we'll see you in the next episode of We Be the Change.